And if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, just open any news outlet. They're pretty much everybody's talking about these days. It's over the last couple of days. It's grotesque to the core of what we're seeing. And so I'm not typically one that endorses boycotts and things like that. I think it was Elon Musk. I think Thursday, Elon Musk had tweeted, and he's not a Christian. He's an atheist. But he had tweeted, if Christians don't stand up for themselves, they won't exist in a few years. Now, I don't believe that one bit. I mean, our God holds us, and I have no fear about our future. But even atheists are looking and going, man, Christians, you got to say something. You can't just let the world beat you up over and over and over again and never say anything. Now, for me particularly, I'm strange. I always view things a little bit differently. It doesn't bother me that much what happened this week. I'm actually somewhat grateful for it. Not grateful for the debauchery, the sinister evilness of it, but I'm grateful for the results that it brings. And I've been grateful for over the last couple of years now because I have been noticing, particularly here in the U.S., people waking up and their eyes are getting illuminated to the evils that have been hiding in the shadows for such a long time, but are now more aware of those things. We've been seeing that in our local schools. We've been seeing that in politics. We've been seeing that in our corporations and businesses where people are realizing that behind the scenes, in the shadows, there's more evil, sinister things going on. And we live in a time where the demons don't hide in the shadows anymore. They're bold, they're courageous. And we have, this past Friday night, the men met in this room and we, on our faces before God, cried out for revival in our nation. We want to see that. Christians are crying for revival. We want to see revival. But maybe you're not aware that we've been witnessing a revival, an awakening for years now, just not by Christians. It's by those in the dark realm of this world, the demonic realm, that has had a revived sense of power and boldness and courage that we haven't seen in much of us for our lifetimes. And I think a lot of that has to do with Satan knows that his time is short, and so he's going to wreak as much havoc as he can while he can in this world. And so the demonic realm that surrounds us that we're unaware of, that and has for all of our life has worked in the shadows, is now working more openly, more publicly. And when that happens, nothing creates more of a contrast between light and darkness, righteousness and wickedness. And if you've ever read a history book, or if you know anything about church history, you know that when the world becomes wicked and dark, that all that does is fuel the flames of the Christian gospel. It causes people to turn to Christ. And so I'm praying that that will be the case here. I also am not shocked by any of this. I mean, after all, it's the Olympics. We kind of forget the origin of the Olympics. Go back some 3,000 years ago when, in the Greco-Roman Empire, they would claim that the god Zeus himself is the one who created the games, and that the games were meant for his worship, and that they were meant to bring sacrifices for him. And not just the Olympic Games that took place in Olympia, but also you have the Caspian Games, you have all of throughout the Greco-Roman Empire, and they're similar as they are today, between 4 years and 2 years apart, and they were athletic games, but they were not just athletic games. They were religious, spiritual gatherings, where sacrifices were made to the pagan gods, where worship was given to the pagan gods. And each one of the games represented different gods. It should not be surprising to you that when the demons who led those gods, the demons who empowered those gods of the past, are feeling boldness in our present time, that they would be reverting or reviving back to their old ways. All they're doing is saying, hey, what we have once done in the past, we want to do again, because we feel the freedom to do so. And that is what we're witnessing in our lifetime. And fortunately, even the secular world around us is beginning to see the demonic nature of the time that we live in. And so, yes, I boycott it. I'm against it, as they'd say in the South. I'm against it, all the wickedness that it represents. But at the same time, I recognize the open door that it creates for the church. the open door for the gospel. So pray that God would be glorified.